Hi, and welcome to Far From Home with me, Mabel Nine, and your host. I'm excited to introduce today's guest to you, and I want to thank Heidi de la Cruz, the host of The American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants, for introducing Eloise to me. Eloise Benoit is a Haitian American author and entrepreneur. As the author of Unwired and the CEO and founder of Made for More Legacy, Eloise is passionate about empowering others through faith, identity, and legacy building, especially in areas of purpose and financial empowerment. She's currently in school studying to be a physician's assistant. It's such a joy and blessing to have her as a guest on Far From Home. So, welcome, Eloise.
Hey, welcome. Well, I say welcome. Thank you, Mabel. Thank you for having me. And thank you again, Heidi, for connecting me with Mabel. It's amazing how connections can lead you far. It's through a connection. I went to a conference, met Heidi, and then now meeting Mabel and the rabbit trail going. So Heidi, thank you for this moment. So thank you for having me on your show. And I can't wait for us to talk and, what it all entail today.
Well, we're so glad to have you. And I know that your story is unique. And when I spoke to you over the phone, I knew that you would be a great fit for this show. And I can't wait for my audience to get to know you better. Let's start from the beginning. Tell us about your childhood in Haiti, what was it like growing up in Haiti? And I wanted to add another question to that,
Mhm.
which I ask all my immigrant and refugee friends who are who come as guests on Far From
Yeah.
Home. Share your favorite childhood memory with us.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let me think back. Okay, I know a memory already, but my childhood in Haiti was beautiful. It was vibrant. It was very, I would say the word educational because my parents were big on education. And I think that's anyone that's outside of the America. Education is like the number one tool that we have. I have two older brothers and I'm the youngest of three. And in our home, it was mom, dad, brothers, and another lady that pretty much grew up with me. She became like my nanny, but I call her cousin. And in that lifestyle, it was just we go home, go to school, hang out with family, and that was pretty much all that I did. I always had friends, like one or two, not really. I didn't have that many friends, but my brother were my friends, and their friends were my friends, and I was able to be around that type of environment, always learning, always growing. Even in the weekend, they will have like domino games and card games, and I want to be around that to see what it's like when we go outside in the park and we get to play. We lived in a small neighborhood where everyone knew each other,
Mhm.
regardless of who you were. We all knew each other. And one thing I really loved and cherished about my parents is where, as much as my dad had the three of us to take care of, he also took the neighbors' kids to school. So Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday after we get ready, he picked them up, he does drop off, and then he goes to work. And then same thing after 5, he picks everyone up and drop them off from home, and then we have dinner. And that was the norm for us. And from there, I grew with these people. Every year we knew school, this is what's gonna take place. When we have family events, these are the same people that was there. So we became very family. And I totally enjoyed that part of my childhood. And it's been embedded in me now that I'm very family like. As much as I'm currently in school and I'm a bit away, like 40 minutes away from them, a part of me is like drawn where I still want to be around. And one day I do want a family of my own as well. So for sure. But my favorite memory as a kid, I would say it's summertime when my dad would take us to his job. They will always take the company to the beach. So every summer, and I look forward to that. I know summertime comes around June or July. The company takes the whole family to the beach, and we go to the nicest beach. And every year will be a different beach that we have in the country, and we will travel in a bus. So it will be all of us, his staff, his director, and everything, and we will go there, eat, play, and spend the whole day there. And we come back home. I didn't know how to swim then, so it will always be a like, okay, you're excited to go to the beach, but I will never step foot in the water. and we just and we just eat the good food and be on the boats and everything. And I lived for that. I think now I'm a water baby. I constantly want to go to the beach nowadays. So I don't know. I don't know if it came before. I don't know if it came from that, but eventually I desire. I'm in Florida now. Thank God I have beach all around me. So it was beautiful.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So tell us what brought you to America.
So what brought me here was none other than the 2010 earthquake in Haiti. I'm sure the whole world knows about this impact. It was a eventful moment for most of us, and it was a tragedy. As much as I used to come here as a kid, but up until the earthquake happened, my parents made a decision. It's time for you guys to move to a different country for a better life, but opportunity in America is the place for us to kind of build a different life other than where we were. Not that we say we're suffering, but because there was no life after the earthquake. The earthquake, a lot of people passed away. A lot of people lost their home. We lost a few family and friends, and he thought to himself, okay, it's best to send my kids and wife to a different country. And that's how I end up being here, learning the life of an American.
Mhm. So it was a tragedy that kind of, prompted your family to send you here. Tell us a little bit more about how life was for Haitians after the earthquake, the immediate effect of it. How did it change people, families, and the way they did life?
One word, trauma. It's a traumatizing situation. I think in this life, as parents per se, I'm not a parent, but I can only, if I put myself in my parents' shoes, you are wanting to work for the sake of your kids and the betterment of your family. You never put yourself in this position thinking that something tragic can happen, you know? So the life after the earthquake became a traumatic experience for most of us that I'm sure to this day, some people may still be lingering that trauma around because it's an earthquake. It's sudden, it's quick, and the magnitude was about 4.7. So it was heavy. I know you're in Cali. I'm sure Cali also have earthquakes,
Yeah.
and I don't know how they impact, but being in a a third world country and having an earthquake, meaning electricity, water, the hospital, the school system, it's not the same as it is here. Back home, we're not well equipped when
Mm.
it comes to these life stuff. Like here, at least, there's some things they may have in place. Even for the hurricane, you can see they have generators to power again. Back home, when the electricity is gone, if you don't have candles or these lamps with oil, you can't really, do much. So just imagine after an earthquake and there's no route to go to a market or the school system is shut down and so many other issue. So life is now you literally have to pause. Everything is let me just put on pause here and let's be on survival mode more than let me get an education, let me get a job, let me look for my car. It became all these things became so fleeting. It's your life now. Like,
Mm.
it's quick and people were screaming, people are dying because house breaks are falling on them and the agriculture and the architecture in Haiti is not the same as America also because the way they built their home is by bricks, is cement. So just imagine when there is earthquake and everything is just tumbling down over. And if you're not fast to run for your life or
Yeah.
for safety, and even within the safety, you have to be careful because there's lines for electricity all around. And if one breaks and it can hit you, and that's another way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it's pure trauma, it's pure tragedy where it's just
Your
like
lives are just
it's your life.
overturned, right?
Yes, your life is at stake. And as much as we watch these things in movie, but experiencing it as a parent, you're only thinking, how can I get my family to be safe? How can I truly make sure beyond I just see me, my family right now. You can't even
Mm.
think of my job. You can't even think about the next door neighbor as you would want to because your life is in danger.
Yeah.
And I would say the life afterwards was very traumatic for them to psychologically unlearn. even if you're in a safe spot or you're okay. Yes,
Mhm.
now there's hurricanes and you see how people can really go crazy about, let me go get water and let me go get the battery and this and that. I don't think it's as crazy if it's happened so suddenly and you're not prepared. At
Yeah.
least here we kind of have some level of preparation and equipment. Back
Yeah.
home, they don't equip you to say an earthquake is coming at
Yeah.
any moment, be prepared.
Yeah.
But from that time, it really showed people to now change their lifestyle, change the way they think, and start preparing for better outcomes
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
a certain level. To a
Yeah.
certain
I
level,
mean, I'm
not all
so
the way.
sorry that your family had to go through that. And that literally changed your world, changed your family too, because you and your sibling came over here to America. So that kind of split your family. So tell us about your life in America in the first few weeks. Like, did you face any cultural shocks or did anything
Jesus.
amaze you?
Culture shock. I came here to America and my first few weeks, I came in March, my first few weeks, I was like, what is this? Like, because I had to go to school and it was a high school and it was with boys. Back home I was with all girls. That in itself was a culture shock. And I had to wear clothes, no more uniform. So now my family had to tell me, I gotta dress. My clothes were only for the sake of school
Yeah.
and outside of, family out of family vacation or whatnot. But this time around, I have to wear clothes every day. So my aunt, they took us shopping. It was like Rainbow, Ross, Marshalls, and there's a store, I forgot the name of it. I think it's Rock Room Shoes back then.
No idea.
But it was Rock Room Shoes. And so I had to go to get some shoes, tennis shoes, socks, and backpack. And, we had to go to the health care clinic to get your shots, immunization. And I was like, back home, we don't do shop for the things that are doing. We don't do that. I mean, we do the immunization while we're in school but uniform, we have to go to a sewing person to get these things
Yeah.
done and your
Yeah.
measurements.
Yeah.
Here, I have to go shopping. And of course, as a girl, I want to make sure my hair is done well. But my culture shock was number one, I'm in a high school and there's boys.
Hmm.
And that was like, what am I supposed to do here? And yes, I spoke
You become
English.
more conscious, right? Like how you
Yes,
behave, how you talk. Yeah.
absolutely. And, I was also in a matter where I spoke English, but now I literally have to practicing it more and more. I only knew English in school, but now I have to literally get out of my comfort zone to actually speak the language with the
Yeah.
heavy, thick accent. And, and the school system is completely different. So my first week, we had an exam in math class, and they told me it was an open book exam. And I looked at the professor. I said, I'm sorry, sir. With my broken English, I said, I don't want to take this exam. He said, Eloise, he said, Eloise, why? I said, back home, we don't take open book exam.
Hmm.
He said, yeah, but over here you can. I said, how about, can you push the date for me? I was so silly. I said, can you push the date for me where I'll go home, I'll do the homework, I'll study, and I'll come back and take it. And he literally put his hand on my shoulder. He said, no, it's okay. It's an open book, meaning you can open the book and read off of it, and then you take your exam. I was so bamboozled. I felt like it was a scam. I was like, this can't be. What do you mean by that? As much as I aced the exam, but I was not comfortable because back home we have to study from front to back and then go and take the exam, and you must know exactly what you're doing and
Yeah, there's
applying.
no open book system. I totally relate to that. Yeah.
We don't have open book. And I was just like, are you sure? And this is math at that. Like, you want to tell me you're giving me the opportunity to take this? This is too easy. And then the other culture shock was I had to take an elective class and they give me French. I said, you people, do you not know? I said, do you not know? I speak this. And as a freshman, they put me in French 4. So I was with the seniors. So I was the only freshman with seniors. So automatically, I'm already in a room feeling like I'm matured more than I'm supposed to be. And I was the one helping them out. And my professor sometimes he didn't know the right words because he was just a a substitute, and I was like, that's not what you mean. Like that's not the right French word. And it was a constant battle rebelling with him. And I'm like, you say you're a teacher, you're a professor of French, but you're not speaking the right French. And I was very sassy. And that was in itself within the school system. And when it comes to the food, McDonald's and the Wendy's and the Burger King. I used to love eating burgers from Burger King. Back home, we had these fast food, but it's not really like something we do. It's fast food. Back home, we don't really have fast food. We have everything has to be cooked from the beginning to the end. It takes
At home
an hour.
mostly.
Everything is cooking from scratch. And I was like, wow, this is an adjustment. I
Mhm.
literally have to change a lot my
Yeah, yeah.
lifestyle
It's a
to kind of
huge change. Yeah.
to fit in the
Exactly
system.
because you were at an impressionable age, in your teenage years. So, were there any people in your life who helped make this adjustment easier?
Absolutely. I give props and I will always honor her whenever I get the chance. I would say my aunt and my uncle, they were the ones breaking those barriers for me in my mindset mentally, especially like, telling my parents, hey, she's new and I'm a teenager in my church. We had a pastor, the youth pastor, embracing me and pretty much welcoming me in on how things are here and how things is back home. And I have to constantly trying to fit which one will benefit me the most. But it will always be constantly like, wait, this is how society is here. And I lack so much self-awareness. Oh my goodness. It was just like constantly, and having my cousins that were there for me to kind of like navigate through life with me. Up until my junior year, I was able to be really comfortable. It was like school, the system, how things were. But I would say my aunt and uncle, they did a really great job at showing me what the culture is all about, what society is all about, and pretty much setting me up for success to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And what was church like?
Oh, church was beautiful. We attended a predominantly white Baptist church, and we were like the first Black family in the church. So that in itself was like, okay, this is different. This is different. And church was very short. Back home, church is like kind of like all day type of thing. Over here, it was like the 2, 3 hour service, and we get to go home. And I'm like, oh wow, this is fun. And they had activities like, for the youth. They always have church camp and youth worship night. And I was like, wow, yeah, people really is invested. Yeah, you guys are really invested into the things of God. So as much as yes, we were the first Black family, they never made it seem as though we were the first one. They just learned to learn our ways. So we were very popular in a sense, because now everyone wanted to know what kind of food do you guys eat? Like, la, 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 la. So every Sunday would have all of our friends coming over to eat at our house. And my aunt will openly welcome their door, and my parents openly loved, to have the doors open for
Yeah.
anyone that came in to kind of let us in into their world and letting them in and we were let in their world. And that's
Mm,
why I was able to learn about culture and how each culture, as much as we have God, we do things differently. Our values somewhat can be a little bit different.
yeah. And from what you're saying, I gather that your aunt and uncle, as well as the church, provided a safe space for you to learn not only the American culture, but to also, in a way, show others what your culture is like. And they
Exactly.
give you that loving time and space and energy you needed
Mm-hmm.
to get used to life here after facing, like you said, a traumatic event.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, as a follow up to that, I wanted to ask you, what
Mm-hmm.
role do you think your faith has played in your immigrant journey, or how has it shaped you as a person?
My faith has shaped me in a value where seeing that all along God had his hand upon me, to now when I reflect back, I can always lean on you wanted me here for a purpose. And even if God forbid, you want else something else for me by any means, it was for the reason of I may have you here for the next season or the next season. So for a while, I didn't think so up until now that I'm getting older and getting stronger in my faith that I'm seeing, okay, I have you here for a reason, and because of others lost their lives, and I could have lost my life as well, and where I am now, I really do see God's hands upon my life. And I always think when we reflect, when we look back, we can see all along you were there. And of course, when he says, I will never leave you nor forsake you, you can really lean in on that because I was there then. I was there this, I was there that. So now moving forward, as much as sometimes uncertainty comes in, we question the next step, we question the doubt or the fear or anything that he may put on our hearts to do. It propels me forward to say, you were there then, you made a way then, you will do it again.
Amen.
You will do it again. And sometimes it's tough. Of course, there's some situation that comes and it's really heavy. It's like, why are you doing this? Like, how come or am I going through this again? And now I'm at peace to say it's probably because of the journey of you maturing me, or it's just for the next season of life, or what exactly are you trying to do in this very moment? And that gives me peace because I can look back
Mm.
on the time that you have brought me this far. So if I brought me this far and you get glory in it, you're not done.
Mm.
You're not done. There's got to be something. There's a story being molding here. There's a story being formulating out of this situation to now here I am. So therefore, you're not done. And of course, until you take me home or whatnot, I have to believe that truly you'll never leave me nor forsake me. So it has played a big part.
Amen. That was just so beautiful what you said. And it was encouraging to me to just listen to you speak that. And I took it for as word for myself in my own life too. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely.
Um, so you wrote a book called Unwired.
Mhm.
Tell us about it. What inspired you to write it? Do you have a copy so you can show us?
Oh my goodness. I do not have a copy, but what I'm gonna
It's
do,
fine.
I don't know if I can I don't know if I can send you the ebook. Maybe you can show the screen or probably for this
Sure.
purpose of this. So what I'll do here quickly, I'll just send you the e-file just so you can have it on hand. But Unwired, while we're talking, Unwired is literally about I was in a season of the wilderness. Do I have your number? Oh, I do not. Oh, I'll send it to your email. How about that?
Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I was like, what? Okay. So Unwired is about I was in the wilderness season and the idea came for me to the idea started to come in for me to write a book. And I remember that day I sat in my apartment and I started to write. But I was like, is this really what's going on? But I was jotting down just the thoughts and everything. And I didn't know it was gonna formulate into a book. So eventually I started to take journaling serious. So I started to journal my every day. Hey, I wake up today. Thank you, Father. At the end of the day, oh my goodness, da 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 da. So it's like my feelings and emotions started being journaled out in a way for me to express. Since if I don't talk it, I'm gonna write it out. And throughout writing, the idea came a lot more stronger throughout the years. And I kept thinking, is this really a book? And the thoughts were getting louder for me. And every time they will come, I will currently like jot them out to think like, okay, maybe truly there's something being birthed out of me. And up until the year of 2023, the end of 2023, like I had to move again and it came and I kept hearing birthing, birthing, birthing. And I'm like, okay, what are we birthing? And it was the book. Good enough. It was the book, and I sat down. I would go to work, but I would always have to carve time to really sit down and put the things in order and just write. And I will just be writing, and I'm writing, and I'm writing. And moving forward, it was one day after work. I used to work day shift at the hospital, and I sat down one night. I said, I'm not gonna go to sleep. This is not happening. And I just sat down and I finished it. I sat it down. I said, okay, what do I do here? Like now that I finished writing, what am I supposed to do? That's when I started to look for publishers. I started to look for, I started to reach out to people like, hey, have you ever wrote a book before? And what do you know about publishing a book? And I just put a date to it. I said, on this date, I need to publish this book. And the moment I put a date to it, I started to work towards it. It showed me what meaning when you have a deadline and that
Mhm,
entrepreneurship is big about deadlines, where
mhm.
deadlines is what keep us moving forward. I put a deadline to it and I started to work. I said, okay, this is my title. This is the book. I need a publisher. I need to launch this thing. I need to look for a photographer. I need to look for a place to have people to be invited. And no one knew that I was writing. No one knew that I didn't go out there and say I'm writing a book. It was very sacred. It was just me between God. It literally just me. And then one day after I published it, I told everyone I wrote a book. I became an author. Here I am. Here I am.
Praise
I'm an
God.
author, and I released it. And literally on that day, as much as there was warfare, there was chaos, but on that day, at the right time, it was published. I was able to celebrate with others. I was able to talk about it, and it ended up being out in the world. And Unwired ended up being about my own identity because of when I first came and to high school, I came as a teenager, the peer pressure of the world, plus, what school you're gonna go to, what are you gonna do, what are you gonna become? And automatically, first of all, I just got here. Give me some, please, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And maybe I was probably in high school trying to cover up my own identity to fit in because I had to quickly do things fast. And in that season of wilderness, I had to really get grounded in my identity, get grounded on who God says I was. So it became as a healing aspect for me. It became as a mean of me loving who I am, loving who He says I am. I had to
Mhm.
forgive myself in that process. I had to really get rid of those trauma, the baggage, any mistake that I've made in high school, all of these things as a teen, or the age gap you need to kind of meet requirements. And in our culture, you feel like you should at 25, you should be this, at 30, you should be married, or society norm. And I literally had to say, you know what, enough. And through my writing, I got rid of all of that. And it became
Mm.
so freeing. It was like, whew, huh,
It's like
how
a burden off your shoulders. It was
absolutely
therapeutic for you.
very therapeutic. And
Mhm.
moving forward, as much as I'm not currently writing as much because I'm in school, but still the way I formulate my words and how I even write to others, it's very to the same sense, like, oh wow, you are a writer.
Yeah, no, no, I second that, and I
Yeah,
encourage you to keep writing,
yeah.
and I'm sure there's a second, third, fourth book in there.
There is a second for sure. There is a second for sure that's in the pipeline. It's just not the time yet to let it
Mm.
out. But it's definitely where it was very therapeutic, and it made me really reaffirm who God says I am. And it
Yeah,
really made me reaffirm who I am in His eyes. And that gives me a sense of peace that now moving forward, as much as trouble may come, I have peace. Uncertainty may
beautiful.
comes, I have
Yeah,
peace. Because I went to that harsh one, that I'm not saying what comes forward may not be as difficult, but I have some sense of foundational hardship.
got it, got it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, before we conclude, I want to ask you
Yeah.
about your organization, Made for More Legacy. So, in a few sentences, could you tell us about your organization and what its mission is, and what is your vision for the future?
So my vision for Made for More, as much as it's just me right now, branding it and being out there, networking and meeting others, Made for More, because I wrote a book about identity and I did mentorship. The moment I finished writing that book, the Lord literally opened up a door for me to opportunity to literally pour into others about identity. It was just like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. So because of that, and now I do taxes when it comes to financial literacy, Made for More, I want it to be a platform of where gathering other entrepreneurs, leaders, young professionals to come in one room and be able to pour into one another. Literally, that's all it is. As iron sharpens iron, literally. So, yes, I'm an author. That will be a opportunity for you to read my own, very own thing that I've written. And Made for More is the whole name. Where in my services, though, I will provide tax, which is taxes, doing the taxes, and also teach others about money, teach them about taxes, which in America you do need to pay. You need to give Caesar what's for Caesar. Most don't know that. But to teach them, but which puts me as a leader now. And of course, and I have a merchandise line that, just to carry out the name, to just carry out the brand. And that's what made Forward. That's my mission. My mission is every year to host an event to the best of my ability. That's the goal for next year, which we'll be in planning of it now, to bring others on board, to bring panelists, to bring people that are already walked the path, that has a whether you're an author, whether you're a business, whether you are in finance, whether if it's healthcare, we come back again every year and we say, okay, all right, we're pouring into you, we're sharing insight for you to grow. Just like I shared with them in the conference of this year, after I'm leaving here, I'm going to pour into myself in any capacity to grow. Because next year, when we meet again, I'm not going to talk about what we talk about this year. I'm pretty much going to talk about what happened after my
Yeah.
conference.
Hmm.
So there's a level of growth. And so we're not just attending conference just to attend. You have to move forward with the knowledge and the wisdom that you gain and practice it into your craft it well, add on to it, whatever you need, then come back again, we
Yeah.
meet again, we pour into each other again and build a community out of that. And from there, we grow in life. We grow, whether if it's from business, entrepreneurship wise, or family, but overall, the goal is to continue to the networking, the connection. That's my goal moving forward. I did get a chance to meet amazing people all throughout after my last conference and able to partner up with them into whatever the case may be. Then next year, it'll be new faces, it'll be new marketing strategy, it'll be new ways for us to meet a new grit of what we're gonna give to the people so they can just go on with it and say, okay, I can take this, change it in my business. I can finally write that book and bring that idea out. I can finally start that one thing I've been brushing off for a while now and really birthing it out. And that's my goal.
Mm.
That's my goal.
Praise God. Um, Eloise, may God bless your efforts. May God go with you, be with you. And I just feel like praying that blessing over you. May you find favor with other people, and may God's favor rest upon you. May He, bless your efforts
Yeah,
and
thank you.
use you in a mighty way to make a difference, like you're already doing, that He would extend your influence. And that I also pray that God will draw you even closer to Him, that
Amen.
you are growing so much in all areas of your life. And may God also grow you spiritually. And that's my prayer for you. I was just so good to talk to you
Yeah,
and get to know you. Thank you so much for being on Far From Home.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was definitely a pleasure. I can't wait to meet you face to face. I know this is face to face, but face to
In
face is
person, yes.
in person.
I'd love that. I look
Uh,
forward to it.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. It definitely wasn't meant. Thank you for the blessings as well. And I'm learning to consistently put in the work every day and to
Hmm.
bring into fruitfulness because that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.